So can I be real with y'all for just a sec? I have a big problem with most gimbals. Now, I know I've reviewed a lot of gimbals here on the channel, and for each one that I said I liked, I genuinely did like these gimbals. However, no gimbal has honestly come close to my original Ronin M. The two-handed underslung gimbal was clutch, but this gimbal had a huge problem. You had to carry around this stand in order to put it down, which made it a massive headache when filming basically anything. So for the longest, I've been looking for the perfect gimbal with a good dual hand support system that would also give me more control, along with the way to put the whole thing down to make it easier to take breaks and for balancing. Now, sure, the Mobi Pro is an option, but it's a bit outside my price point for a gimbal. And if you've ever used one, you know that you also have to pay for a membership at your local chiropractor because of the chronic back pain this thing will inevitably suffer upon you. So when I saw the new DJI and TILTA setup they have been kind of cooking up, you already know I was up in the kitchen ready for it. So this is the brand new DJI Ronin RS2 and the TILTA dual handle power supply. Now, I know what you're thinking. Brandon, Small Rig and some other Amazon companies out there make dual handed grips for my gimbal too. But nope, no, you're wrong. This is different. See, this gimbal setup is designed to work specifically with the RS2, which means it works as if it's native. Also, unlike other dual grips, you don't have this long barrel running down the middle of your gimbal, making it hard to get low angle shots. See, the dual handle power supply uses the provided RS2 battery handle as one of the handles for the grip, but it also supplies power to the entire system. The other side uses a provided handle and a rail that connects the entire system. Now, in the middle is the attachment for the gimbal, and it drops in and connects without any issues. But it is designed for this gimbal, and the battery handle provides the power to the system, and you're basically good to go. Now, I used a provided tripod mount and mounted it underneath the bottom so that way I could sit the whole thing down, which, you know, it's clutch in a lot of situations. But to make it even easier, I used the briefcase handle that came with the Ronin and this other little mini tripod I had from my previous Ronin in order to have a back handle. So literally the entire thing is covered. Now, as far as the time to set this entire thing up, it really doesn't take that long at all. Building it only takes a couple of minutes, maybe 2 to 3 minutes to get everything built in. And then when it comes to balancing it, it's just like if you didn't have this setup on there, it balances the exact same way. With the addition of the motor locks on the RS2, you actually can balance this thing significantly faster than you could with the older Ronin because you're able to lock each axis and only focus on balancing that one. And then once you have it balanced, you can lock it and start focusing on another axis, which makes the entire process easier. I actually find that setting up this gimbal and balancing it with the TILTA add-on takes me just about as much time as it used to take me to actually balance my old Ronin S. Another awesome bonus about this entire setup is the fact that this thing can work off of a VMount battery. Now, unfortunately, this does come at an additional price. TILTA does sell an adapter piece that you can actually add into this little spot right here on the gimbal, and then you can attach a V-mount system to it. Unfortunately, that piece is sort of back ordered on their website. They did say that it could ship out in about 2 to 3 weeks. I personally don't own one and have not ordered one yet because I'm finding that the battery grip actually does a fairly, a really good job at powering the entire system. Now, the only reason why I'm actually considering picking up this piece is because when I balance my Komodo on this system, I actually like to run my Komodo off of the V-mount power. And so typically I find myself actually just holding on to the V-mount battery or kind of like sticking it in a pocket and going very jetpack setup. But I think with this setup, being able to have a V-mount battery attached to it to power the gimbal, but then also have a V-mount on there to be able to power my camera could make the system work that much better with cameras that need V-mount power. Now I know what you're thinking. You got the info you need and you're ready to click off this video, but I would hold off on that because this next part is going to completely blow your mind. Sure, you can use this thing like this and it works great. But for you guys who are unlike me, you know, vertically challenged, basically for you taller people out there, holding gimbals in a lower kind of configuration can be a problem. And so if you actually hold the lock button on this thing and you flip it into inverted mode, you're able to shoot this thing like the OG Ronin M. This is by far my favorite way to use this thing. Now, this is not an official review of this system, but I'd be remorsed if I didn't at least go over a few things that I love about this setup and a few problems, one kind of being a really big deal that might just tarnish the whole reason why you decide to buy this thing. As far as the stableness of this setup goes, I think it's the best way to go. Having your arms out in a more natural along with having two-handed controls will make operating much smoother. And I think the footage pretty much speaks for itself. Now, some of this will be predicated off of the user, but for the most part, I think that this is a much better way to go, having a two-handed setup. Obviously, that being compared to the single-handed setup. Another awesome bonus is that all these parts actually pack away into the original tiny bag that the RS2 came in. And I'll have links, of course, to everything down below in the description if you're interested in checking these out. This video is not sponsored, and I paid full price for both units. So with that being said, if you want to wait for my full review, feel free. But I will say this now, if you are in the market for a gimbal, or maybe you were like me and you own the Ronin S, this is definitely worth the upgrade if you want to have a two-handed setup. There is really only one main issue with this configuration, and it has to do with this one screw. Now, this could totally be just mine, and I'm actually planning on messaging TILTA about this, but I have to tighten this thing so crazy tight in order to keep this right sidearm connected. Like, I have to double, triple check it before I can trust it. And I just feel like I shouldn't have to put that much pressure in order to secure this piece. All right, future Brandon here, just interrupting for just a moment. So this screw has become a slightly bigger problem than when I was originally making this video, to the point to where I've actually had the handle accidentally slide off while filming some B-roll. So luckily we at least caught that on camera. It does seem to be an issue with this one piece. Now, this again might just be mine, but I have reached out to TILTA. Fingers crossed that they can send me another one, but just something to consider and to think about when ordering yours. Now, back to review Brandon. Another drawback about this system is the price tag. It is $219, which brings the total cost to over $1,300 with tax, depending on where you live. And at that price, this really isn't a spontaneous purchase. But someone like me who shoots polished looking commercials and real estate, gimbals are kind of just like a must-have on my list. So there is that. I mean, this setup might not be for everyone, but for me, it's pretty much everything. Now, please let me know any questions you'll have about this gimbal as well. I answered a lot of questions about this gimbal over on my Instagram account as well. So if you aren't following me there, be sure to do that. Here are a few videos that I know you guys are going to love, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.